If you've never draped a sari before, or you don't set your saris up like this, let me take you through why I set it up like this and all of the steps I do to prep my sari the day before. I'll also show you how I pinned it. I'm in my open Pallu era. I didn't pleat my Pallu. If you're going to pleat it, I have lots of videos and I can link those down below for you. But I did pleat my front pleats. Prepping them the day before on a mannequin just helps so much. It doesn't have any folds. You don't have to iron them out on the morning of. In order to figure out where to pleat, take the non-fancy end of the sari, place it against my body where I'm going to tuck in. I go ahead, bring it around me, and then I mark this point right here to understand where to pleat until I take my Pallu end, put it on my left shoulder, and I want the Pallu end to hit the back of my knee. Bring the sari around, take it to my right thigh, bring it up. And that's where I pleat till. So before I even started, I marked those 2 points. I put it on a table and I pleated it with a phone. If you don't know how to pleat, this is the easiest way, the quickest way to pleat. Even I pleat like this now because I find that especially if you want lots of pleats, it's the only way to ensure you get lots of pleats, because when you do it with your hands, the pleats end up becoming wider than I want, and it's really hard to get narrower pleats. So I call this my 1, 2, 3 method, and I've already pinned various points in the sari. All you need is a table and a phone or a similar object. I'm going to pleat from 2 to 3. So I'm going to take my phone, put it down. It's as easy as that to create the pleats. Bring it over, press it down, do that again. I'm going to repeat that until I get to the other end. And as you go, you just want to go ahead and press them down so that the pleats stay nice and neat. The more effort you take here, the easier it'll be at the end to gather all of your pleats. So this is my last pleat, and once I take this last pleat, gather all of the pleats together and add a pin. You want to put your phone on top of the pin there just to kind of hold it in place. And then you want to gather all of these pleats. I'm gathering it about a hand's length. It doesn't really matter. You just want to make sure that you have enough. This is just another spot to anchor and gather the pleats. And then once you've gathered it and you're happy with it, just add another safety pin here. You're gonna come to the bottom of the pleats and you're going to just guide them. The hard part's already done in terms of pleating, and now you're just guiding the fabric to kind of follow the lines and the folds you've already created. And then once you're happy with how they're set, arrange them how I like them. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect, but you just want to make sure that the inside folds are similar in length, or each pleat is taking up a similar amount of fabric here. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to go in, press that down. And what this is going to allow you to do is just hold these pleats. And we haven't used any heat here. You're going to see that when you go to drape this sari, the pleats are going to hold beautifully. So once I've pleated it, what I did was I literally just put the Pallu end on the mannequin, put a pin right here, and then I bring it around. And this is to ensure that there's no folds. I mean, you can also put it on a hanger if you don't have one, but I find that a hanger creates lots of folds, which you don't want. Fold this in, because this is the part that's gonna get tucked in inside, so no one's gonna see that. And then I just do that. And that way the pleats are hanging, there's no folds anywhere else, and then it's ready for me to drape. So now that we know how to prep and pleat the sari, let's get to draping. The great thing about the sari silhouette is that you can tie it as tight as you'd like. It's not gonna hurt you, but make sure it's tight. If you're gonna be wearing heels, I would recommend putting on your heels now, because you'll be able to then determine how much of the sari to tuck in. It's an outdoor wedding that I'm going to today. It's on the grass. I'm going to be wearing flats. I don't wanna have my stilettos dig into the grass, so I'm just gonna be barefoot. So you wanna tuck in as flat as possible. You see how the first pleat is opening up? Move the inside flare inwards so you have a little bit more space so that that first pleat doesn't open up. Go ahead and tuck this in just for the time being. It's not the final tuck. Bring my Pallu around, put it on my left shoulder. So I like that length because if you go longer, look what happens when I let go. It drags, and you do not want your nice, beautiful sari dragging on the floor. What you want to do is make sure that it gets to the knee part right there, like that's about the back of my knee. It'll drag a little bit if you really let go, but like I can hold it down like that and it's still perfect. So at this point, you want to pin that to your blouse. If you can reach over and pin it, that's the best. I would say, like, instead of pinning it to the back of your blouse, pin it like up here. And then when you do go to the event, if you can get someone to pin it back there as well, just because you don't want the Pallu like coming forward. But I have Viveka here, so I'm going to get her to pin it at the back. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the part that's closest to me, bring it around, make sure you tuck the back. And you want to make sure that nothing is trailing. So this is the inner layer. You want to make sure that it's comfortable. You can go ahead and untuck the pleats, pull this tight, bring it here. And because I'm wearing it hanging, I'm not too worried about these hip pleats. We're gonna take the natural hip pleats. We're not gonna force anything here. So I would just take a pin and add it right here. and pin that. Now the sari is taut between that pin and the pin that Viveka pinned on my back, so that's not going anywhere. And now I can arrange my pleats. Don't worry about this extra fabric that's happening here. We're gonna get to that. And you wanna make sure it's lightly grazing. I wanna be able to see my feet when I like go like this. You don't want it to be too long because then your pleats are gonna do that. You also don't want it to be too high because like that's not good either. And you'll notice that I'm not removing this pin right here. So keep that, because that gives you a little bit of insurance. If something comes undone, which it shouldn't, but if it does, all of your pleats are intact and it's easy to fix. This method should ensure that all of your pleats are pinned to the inside layer as well as your skirt. So I'm actually gonna pin this on the inside. I think it's the safest. I'm not worried about it like opening. So before I tuck it in, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually pull this tight against my body. You'll see here, these hip pleats just automatically form. Very easy, very effortless. And you can add a pin here, or you can just like twist and tuck. At this point, everything's gonna look like it's all like not neat, but don't worry about it because in one tuck, you're gonna make everything super neat. So I'm gonna go ahead and tuck that. You have your front pleats. Here, I know everybody says you wanna take this flat, but actually, I still think for most Kanchipuram sarees or heavier fabric sarees, like just folding forward here ensures that this pleat doesn't open up. It doesn't create an extra pleat here as long as you've tucked and taken the pleats properly. You see that fold, it doesn't go all the way down. As long as it doesn't go all the way down, you're good. You're not gonna see like any of that extra pleat look that you get sometimes, but it's gonna make sure that this first pleat doesn't open up as long as you fold forward and tuck there. You can also take some pleats here if you're not comfortable hanging the pallu or carrying the pallu, and kind of just pin it to your blouse or the top of your skirt here. When I'm hands-free, I can just hold it like this and it's beautiful. And then let's say I need both of my hands when I'm gonna get food or help. You can just do that and it still looks effortless. The most important when you're putting it on your shoulder is that the top pleat is like so. How beautiful does that look? I love the open pallu these days. I don't know, I went through a phase of like only wanting to wear my pallu pleated, but right now I'm so into this look. I just think it looks so much more flattering. If you feel that this pallu is feeling loose, you can also just go ahead and unpin this and pull it tight and pin it again. Or what you can do is pull this inside and little part that we've tucked in under our pleats, you can go ahead and do that. I'm just not gonna take it out. I absolutely love the sari. It's one of my favorites. I wore it for Sahana's teething ceremony, and today I'm going to Alicia's wedding. I wanted Sahana in her teething ceremony outfit, so no brainer that I wear this. One of my favorite saris.